I would like to tell them about the some of the scientific aspects that are present in our dance also. So let us look at some of the basic concepts of physics, chemistry, mathematics, how they are present in the dance. When you talk about these concepts of space, time, energy, when a dancer moves from one place to another, depending upon the BMI, the body mass index, so how much of energy do I really have to put in from jumping from one place to another? Space, when I make my foot move here and there, so maybe 3 into 3 area I'll be covering on the stage. But when I stretch my hand like this, I'm also covering that particular area, extending the space, right? This is one part of understanding the time and space. So the energy, the force, and we are also talking about the gravity pull, and the isometric movements, the opposite forces. I'm standing on the floor, pressing my left leg onto the floor, and pulling my right leg again as the gravity pull. See, the isometric movements with the right and left, whatever forces that I'm applying is nothing but physics. Physics is at play. Now, let's move on to chemistry. So chemistry, generally we talk about the body chemistry between the performers, which evoke the powerful emotions in the audience, creating a chemical reaction in the body. And this reaction involves the psychological responses like the tears, the goosebumps, or the racing heart, linking mind and body to the dance experience. Like whatever that felt in here is expressed on the body. And in my second section, I would like to tell them about some of the scientific aspects that are present in our dance also. Like, because we always talk about the scientific approach. So it's a blend of science and the creativity. So let us look at some of the basic concepts of physics, chemistry, mathematics, how they are present in the dance. Now, when you talk about some of the basic concepts, space, time, energy, force, balance, and gravity. So these are the fundamental concepts of physics that I would like to explore on. So when you talk about these concepts of space, time, energy, when a dancer moves from one place to another, depending upon the BMI, the body mass index, like I am weighing around 68 kgs. So how much of energy do I really have to put in from jumping from one place to another? It may be just a 1 foot distance, no matter whatever the distance is. But depending upon the individual, how much of energy I really have to put in, how much of energy I have to use in, how much of force that I have to really use in. So how much of force that I have to really put in from jumping from here to there. Or if I have to if I have to stretch my hands and if I have to look at there. So within that given time frame, I have to make the movement very, very sharp. Or if it is talang gutom, then I sustained movement, talang gutom. So that particular sustained movement, the time management, time measurement is very much necessary, irrespective of my body mass. She may be age also, that matters. For a 16-year girl, she can do it like that. But we also see recently Yamini Krishnamurthy ji, she passed away. For her age, for her body, for her little agility that she has at that age, she has to put in so much of energy and force. And see, coming to the time and space, timing we discussed already. Space, whatever the space that I make use on the stage, that we generally understand as the space that I'm using. But look at the time and space that a dancer occupies really when she's dancing. When I make my foot move here and there, so maybe 3 into 3 area I'll be covering on the stage. But when I stretch my hand like this, I'm also covering that particular area, extending the space, right? This is one part of understanding the time and space. But imagine when I'm dancing about Radha and Krishna, Rasa Mandala Madhye अति तेज सुंदर नित्ये रविकोटि सुंदर चित्रे नंद गोप कुमार चरित्रे. I'm depicting the Rasa Krida of Krishna and Gopi, wherein for every Gopi there is a Krishna present in Vrindavan. When I am presenting the beautiful Gopi leaning on Krishna and Krishna looking into the Gopi with lovely smile into her eyes. So in this process, I'm not only occupying the space on the stage, that is 3 into 3, or the extended hand that might take 1 more feet length on the stage. No, that's not enough. I have traveled to the Dwapara Yuga. That time I have occupied the Vrindavan, that space. Not only I traveled there, along with me, I transported all the audience who are watching my performance. This transportation from one space to another space is possible through dance. So much is there to discuss about the time and space. If I talk about the Ramayana, I'm taking you to Treta Yuga, I'm taking you to Ayodhya, I'm taking you to Lanka. This is how the time and space really works with performing arts. So the energy, the force, and we are also talking about the gravity pull, and the isometric movements, the opposite forces. I'm standing on the floor, pressing my left leg onto the floor and pulling my right leg against the gravity pull. See, the isometric movements with the right and left, whatever forces that I'm applying is nothing but physics. Physics is at play. Now let's move on to chemistry. So here I'm not talking about anything about the chemicals that really play in our brain, So to introduce about the chemistry, how it plays, in every atom, you find the rotation of electrons and the protons moving around the neutrons. Sorry if there are any science students. Okay, so this is nothing but dance, I should say, right? So even in an stable thing, which is an immobile thing, even in a rock or a tree, you see an intangible movement in each and everything. Something is flowing inside, and we can combine this to the rasa theory of Bharata. So chemistry, generally we talk about the body chemistry between the performers, which evoke the powerful emotions in the audience, creating a chemical reaction in the body. And this reaction involves the psychological responses like the tears, the goosebumps, or the racing heart, linking mind and body to the dance experience. Like whatever that felt in here is expressed on the body. See, the chemical thing is happened here. Like, you might appreciate, or you are very compassionate with the artist playing on the stage, but the whatever chemical composition that happened here, it is exhibiting physically. The mental emotion or sentiment, whatever that is felt, is expressed on the body physically in the form of tears or in the form of horripilation or becoming like this. And I'm not going to talking about the chemicals like dopamine and serotonin produced in the body when you watch all these things, but I can tell you from the dance jargon, we have several bhavas, vibhava, sthayi bhava, sanchari bhava, which are the stimulants. Just like, in psychology, we say that, when you see a dog, you will start running. So that triggers your mind. So whichever that triggers your mind, that we call it as a stimulus. In dance jargon, we call it as vibhava. So some artist, some character is crying on the stage. Normally, I think most of you must have cried in one or other movie when the artist is crying in the film, right? That means when you get connected with the character that is being portrayed on the stage or on the screen, immediately the dopamine or serotonin is released in your brain. That connectedness, we call it as vibhava. And the sanchari bhava, they are the fleeting bhavas, the fleeting emotions, the fleeting feelings that carry further your emotion, sustaining your emotion, and they will settle down in sthayi bhava, resulting in tears. So from that of a stimulant till that last point where you triggered the actual chemical, and either you will start the joy of tears or tears of compassion, or it may be goosebumps or horripilation, or there will be suddenly a choke in the voice. Normally, when we talk to someone, we get so emotional. Normally, when I say, yeah, everything is so good to him, no, when I talk about my father passing away, suddenly there will be a choke in my voice. Last night he had the food and everything, he slept night. Suddenly, this morning he couldn't get up. What created that kind of a choke? You are explaining about your father. What has happened to him? That chemical a reaction which happens in your mind psychologically that creates these kind of changes physically on your body. This we call it as a Rasa Siddhanta. I need 24 hours to explain it. Rasa Siddhanta. Anyway, so the mind experiences the joy out of the performance, and it's the body that reacts to it. Right? Moving on to the next subject, mathematics. As you know, everything is a combination of numbers. Either you multiply or you plus or you minus or you divide, all these things, and when you talk also about the different kinds of patterns, shapes, counting, all this comes under the broad spectrum of mathematical concepts. And normally in the dance, we have 5 jatis based on Tisra, Chaturasra, Khanda, Misra and Sankirna. 3, 4, 5, 7, 9. So all the calculation runs around all these 5 numbers only. That we call it as Tala, Jatis and Talas. Kitta, 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 Gitta, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, Takka, Timmi, Takka, Chenno, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Takka, Takitta, Takka, Takitta, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So Takka, Takita, this is called as Khandam. So for those who are familiar with the Sivashtakam, Takka, Takita, Prabhum Nanadham, Vibhum Vishwanatham, Jagannathanadham, Sadananda Bhajam, Takka, Takita. So this is how the rhythm goes on. And everything is a combination of 3, 4, 5, 7 and 9. So sometimes if it continues in a one particular tala, supposing Chaturasra, so we have some avrutas like the number of cycles. So depending upon the cycles, we derive at a concluding number, and we have to divide that number into several sections, and we can navigate through 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all these numbers and derive at the concluding figure. So this is how, and not only this, and you will have beautiful geometry. When I say Tadi Ginatum, hope you all can see my hand movement. When I say Tadi Ginatum, you see a perfect triangle here. 1, 2, 3, right? And similarly, if I say Tadi Ginatum, you will see a diagonal line. Like this, everything is geometrically with a 45, 90 as I explained you earlier. The perfect degrees are maintained in dance in order to bring in the beauty into the poses. Yoga. As you all know, what is in yoga? It is nothing but the balance and harmony in body and the mind. This gives a flexibility and movement and awareness, breath control. Enjoying the spiritual bliss, connecting with the higher consciousness is nothing but the yoga. So you all know how controlling over the breath can help us to sustain our energy for a 3-hour continuous performance. Not only that, the very pose itself tells you how to balance oneself, right? So many things that we learn from the yoga when we compare with the Ashtanga Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Prana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana and Samadhi states. Comparing those or adopting those techniques into the dance, I tell you, the dancers can attain the stage of Samadhi. I'm not joking. Unless you practice, you may not believe this concept. There are dancers who has visualized the higher consciousness while performing their art form. Nothing can be seen, only the higher consciousness. That's it. That is called as yoga. Psychology is another interesting subject. So, in dance we depict so many characters. The female psyche, the lovemaking and the emotional portrayal, everything comes under psychology. And I tell you, the aestheticians have given good number of treatises on the female psychology, basically. like how she responds to a particular situation. In case if the husband has sent a word that he'll be arriving soon, the one who waits at the door, adoring herself with all the jewelry, with a beautiful smile on her face, is depicted as Vasaka Sajjiga. The one who is deceived when he didn't turn up, she's called as Vipralabdha. And when he arrived late, she got so annoyed and she questions him. Why was he late and what are the marks on his body? When she questions, she becomes Khandita. And the one who repents after fighting with him, called as Kalahantarita. All these are nothing but the psychology of the woman. The behavioral patterns, the behavioral analysis of the different characters. Is it a kingly personality? Or is it a royal personality? Or is it a demon character? Or is it a superior cadre or an inferior cadre or a mediocre one? Is she with an extramarital relationship? Or is she a prostitute with a different kind of attitude altogether? So much of psychology has been taken into the literature, and we the dancers are ready to portray. And we have different kinds of methodology altogether to portray that particular psychology, be it men or women, whoever it is. What are the different kinds of men we have? Dhirodhata, Dhira Shanta, Dhira Lalita. So sages are there, divine people are there, demigods are there, furious gods are there. How are you portray them? How are you going to portray them? And what is their psychology? How do you want to introduce their psychology? So in one particular Pravesa Daru, we introduce the entire psychology of the character. Mahishasudanu Danuja Kule Kanata Toda Tanadu Sabhaku Bache. Danuja Kulendru. He is born in the demon's genealogy. That one particular sentence gives you introduction about him. And the way he walks, he turns his moustache, everything shows his attitude. So that song and the actions depict the psychology of the human beings.